Hey guys, and welcome to the weekend Stock Talk. Today is September 30, and can you guys imagine we're nearing the end of September and we're heading to October, and really, wow, the quick transition from summer to fall. And I'm thinking about like changing from those summer clothes to moving to those fall and winter clothes. That's interesting. Months are going by rather quickly in my opinion, but let's talk about stocks, right? I actually recorded this video, and when I finished the video, I realized that I didn't hit the record button. So here we are again. But let's talk about stocks, S&P 500 or the SPY, and we're going to be talking about this on the yearly chart. Now, we've talked about this uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. And in this uptrend, we've had a lot of speculation by people who think the market is due for a correction. The market might come down at this point. But if you give any person this chart and say, what is the probable move for this stock or ETF? They would say, well, the probable move is higher. Well, why? Well, because you guys can see the resistance is at 286, right? And we got rejected first. We came off of it, off the 20-period moving average, moved higher, back tested the resistance, which is now the new support, and now it's moving higher. What is the likely move in the future? Well, don't have to be very smart to know that it's going to go higher, right? So right now, we're at a 20-period moving average again. The likely move is to the high side, and really nothing is pushing the markets lower, right? The tariffs, that comes and goes. That doesn't do that much. Emerging markets, right? Regardless of whatever news items that occurs, the markets find a way to recover, and hence, it's, in my opinion, it's just easier to go long with the market than going short with the market. Sure, if you're shorting, there's these potential opportunities that present in small chunks. But the long opportunity is significantly, in my opinion, safer right now, as of now, than picking your spots and going short. All right, so that's the S&P 500 right now, looking pretty definitive, right? Looking pretty definitive in terms of an uptrend. What did we do on Friday? Pretty much a flat day, but you guys can see that even though we came down pre-market, right, we did manage to push higher. Once again, are we over the support line of 289.27 around the area? Sure we are. Is there anything wrong with the markets? Not really. So that's that for the SPY. Looking at volatility, TVIX, right? We talked about a basing area of around 25.55. Yes, we are slightly edging higher, but you guys can imagine this move isn't a move of volatility moving higher. It's a move of almost a consolidation pattern for yet another move down in the near future for volatility. So volatility, obviously, just giving you this, these few months, right? These 4 months, showing you what's the general pattern. Yes, there are some spikes, but overall, volatility is dying down. Expect this to continue in the future. So that's volatility for you guys. Let's take a look at 4/CL or crude oil futures. Now, this chart is one that has not changed in terms of our analysis. And what did crude oil do on Friday? So on Friday, we had crude oil pushing to 74. Well, we haven't yet, but it's gravitating towards the resistance, which we've talked about in previous Stock Talk videos, to 74.33. What are we doing right now? We're moving to the upside to that resistance area. Now, we don't have to get through it on the first run. I agree. And we will likely encounter some sort of resistance. So, want to, just take you guys to the fact that, once we close over, if we move over the first time, we might get pushed down to an end right at near the resistance area, right? So forming a tail candle. That is likely to happen, okay? That's the first thing. But the second thing is, we are also likely, in my opinion, to cross it at some point, okay? But we'll talk about, because the major resistance is 76.37. That is the reason I have this upper line drawn that is really where I am looking for an area of reversal. The major reversal of crude oil. Now, it doesn't have to be at the area. There's actually a realm, a range of numbers I'm looking at. However, that is the area in which I'm looking for a reversal back to the downside for crude oil. We'll talk more about it if and when we get there, but right now, crude oil is on an uptrend. And, what can you guys say about this pattern? We talked about this pattern, back down here, right? Back down here. And just think about this, right? Well, take a look at UWT. So UWT follows what? What do you guys think? Well, of course, it follows crude oil, right? So if you guys are new to this channel, we talk about commodities pretty much every day, and then we also talk about the tickers that you guys submit. And first of all, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your comments, and you're new here watching this video for the first time. Welcome you guys in, and hopefully you guys are learning some things from these videos, or just kind of looking at the patterns and how I analyze these trends. That's actually pretty important as well. If you guys are returning, welcome back. Love to see you guys back as always. So here's UWT, right? So when we talked about this uptrend when it was down here, right? When it was down here, we talked about this uptrend. You guys can imagine if you guys got in on crude oil, that's already over a 20% move to the upside, right? So crude oil continues to look strong, right? That's UWT following crude oil. So you guys can imagine right now we're at the pretty much all-time highs almost. 44.43. Our resistance area is $45. Isn't that interesting? So that's UWT for you guys, and crude oil looking solid and continues to look solid as of right now. /NG or natural gas futures. Here we are, natural gas. So in the past few stock talks, we had a little bit of choppiness, right? One day, you guys can see it will go higher. One day it goes lower, and the next day goes higher. So you guys can imagine, at the time, we couldn't really see a very clear picture of what natural gas was doing, because it was really choppy near a previous resistance area. But now we have a more definitive trend. Yes, natural gas went down on Friday. However, you guys can see we held over the support. Therefore, it is likely, the probability is that natural gas will continue to move higher. What is natural gas doing? It's consolidation at a support, right? The support area is 2.988. That's what natural gas is doing in the past few days. And hence, even though Friday went down, on Thursday's analysis, we talked about the potential for it to move higher. Right now, I'm sticking to that. The potential is there to move higher. Okay. But could this be a false breakout and move lower? Of course it can, right? Of course it can. So you might be thinking, Kevin, oh no, not again. Why are you talking about upside and downside? Like, stocks either go up or go down, right? Or they can go sideways too, but they go up or they go down. How come you're talking about both sides again? Well, remember, the stock market and stocks or ETFs, they don't have to move up or have to move down. Hence technical analysis, right? I talk about the probability of something going up versus the probability of going something down. If the probability is on our side, then I would take that trade, right? So it's all about nothing is 100%. We can't say for certain natural gas is 100% going to go move higher, because chances are at some point we are going to be wrong, and that 100% will no longer be 100%. But the probability is on our side, and that's what it's all about with really any stocks you look at, any stocks that you invest in. So there you go. That's natural gas for you guys. Interesting pattern. Moving on is /GC or gold futures. Now, here's gold futures, right? I boxed this in for you guys because this is a period of almost a year, right? This is actually a couple of months, half year time chart. And can you guys see how every time we come to the 20-period moving average, we get rejected, right? Near that area. Rejection, now rejection, right? Thursday. So gold right now is on a confusing, rather a little confusing trajectory right now, right? Friday, we had an up day. JNUG, which follows gold, went up over 4%. That's interesting to note. But what's happening right now? Okay, we've had a period of consolidation. We pushed the energy to the downside, but Friday we managed to recover. Has this happened in the past? No. Can you guys see that? When we get to the 20-period moving average, usually we have 2 red candles moving lower. 2 red candles moving lower. Okay? 2 red candles moving lower. 2 red candles moving lower. Right? Here we had a partial recovery. Now we can obviously see a resistance at 12.12 and a support at 11.80. Okay? That's for certain. We have areas of support down there. So right now, what I'm looking for in gold has been the same thing I've been looking at in the past. Crossing this resistance area is its number one goal, right? Whether it can do that. And number 2, whether it can hold the support. Whether can it do that? That's anyone's guess. Because right now, if I talked about the long-term trend, you guys, ask yourself, long-term trend, what's the likely move? You're going to say, well, it's going to go down, Kevin. Yeah, it's going to go down. But I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt in terms of a really long consolidation pattern that we might be pushing higher. Now, the thing to look at gold, in my opinion, is do you have to be the first person on the train when it starts, boarding? No, right? First of all, I don't even know if I'm on the right train if I go on that train right now, right? Go with gold. Who knows what it's going to do? I might be on the wrong train, might be going to the wrong station. What I'm looking forward to doing is once the train starts moving, that's when I can jump on board because there's certainly a lot of potential for it to make up. But it needs to find a direction now. I can't go long with gold, in my opinion, if the major trend is to the downside. That's just illogical. But that's just my opinion once again. I think gold has the potential to move higher, but we just don't see a definitive action by it right now. So if you guys take a look at JNUG, which follows gold, what do you guys see? Well, you guys can see, sure, there's a support at $6.50, and right now we just don't have enough data points, in my opinion, to really get a good argument of which way gold will move. Is this or was this the next low? It's hard to tell just from this graph. So therefore, I'm watching this, but in my opinion, that's me, not actively participating in it at this time. All right, let's take a look at a couple of your comments. Guys, if you do enjoy these videos, once again, please hit that thumbs up button for this video. I appreciate all of your help, and thank you so much for watching this. So if you can hit that thumbs up, thank you so much. And let's talk about your tickers. Will, PG. All right. So for PG, let's zoom out this chart. This is Procter Gamble. Now, the one thing you want to take note of in this chart is that these candles, each candle, represent a month's worth of movement. So if you guys can imagine, this is a 4% move around on a monthly basis for Procter & Gamble. Well, remember Foresight GC, which is the ticker I just talked about, or the JNUG? That one moved over 4% in one day. So I'm not saying that this is a bad stock to go into, but just this one moves slower, and that's something you have to account for. Are you okay with possibly just holding it for possibly half year for possibly a 10% gain, going on the, that's up to you. But overall, this pattern looks good. This is a higher high pattern, right? We have a support line. This support line wasn't drawn in today. This was actually drawn in probably quite a while back when we did previous stock talks, right? In months past. Where's the best entry point? Well, your best entry points has to be near the support, around 72.50, right? You guys can see we broke down below the support line right down here, but then we managed to recover. That's interesting. That's interesting, actually. So let me compensate that for just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to make it like this. All right. So right now, you guys can see that on a monthly basis, and this candle has fully formed, we're still kind of getting squeezed in at the 20 period moving average. Showing you guys the yearly chart really quick. Oh, actually, let's go back. Showing you guys the 3-year chart, right? We're moving higher, but note that we do have resistance areas, right? One of which is 87.74. That is a resistance area. And yes, there's some moves for it to make up, but at the same time, you can imagine earnings is coming up in October, mid-October. So you guys can see earnings, right? What did it do? Continuation move to the upside. Earnings, what did it do? Continuation move to the downside. Earnings, what did it do? The catalyst move to the downside. So earnings, regardless of what's going to happen, will show a big move during that week, a more larger move during that week. So that's interesting to note. But overall, right, the best entries would be at the bottom trendline wheel. So thank you guys for your comment. And I see some of familiar faces here. I see Will, Brolick. Those are familiar faces, so welcome back. Addy Boy, J.A. And then I see Sam and Karar. Pity. Yeah, and welcome, guys, and to the channel. Love to have you guys here. DJ Sin, Jeremy. All right, so that's PG for you guys. All right, so there's CGC. And guys, I'm looking at these technicals on a yearly basis, but you guys can do this really while the day is trading, right? Even on a 1 minute, 5 minute, an hourly, daily, 3-year chart. These are concepts that I talk about in detail and really in step-by-step format in the course that I personally made. So these are step-by-step video courses in which I have talked about in terms of trends, in terms of entries, buying, selling areas, stop loss areas, how to identify these patterns. So be sure to take a look if you're interested. The link is in the description box down below on the YouTube. So yeah, just take a look if you're interested. And here is CGC, or Canopy Growth. So CGC has a pretty big up run lately, right? However, it's been consolidating horizontally recently. Now, can you guys see what happened on Friday? We pulled really a tail candle. Whether this tail candle is significant or not, that's anyone's guess. But for what it's worth, it's saying that the stock is not ready to pull higher just yet. It's not ready to pull higher. And hence, there are areas in which it can go down. And for example, 44.23 is one support. The next support around $35, $36. It is likely that this will continue on lower. Okay? Now, if it moves higher, sure. I mean, that if we can start pushing higher with more volume, higher buyers, then at that point, I'd be more inclined to look at CGC. But right now, you guys can see just from Friday's action, the likely move is to the downside. And, I would wait it out and be a little patient with this one. Thank you for your call out. It's a very interesting pattern, right? All right. So, Sam, Karar, you're a living legend. Thank you, Karar, for your comment. Addy Boy, I'm accumulating some profits for your course. Thanks for posting these videos for the rest. Of course, I'd love to post these videos for you guys. And let's tackle your ticker, which is ANET. All right. ANET. All right. So ANET is one that looks similar to Procter Gamble, in which it doesn't move that much. Now, again, this is a question of patience, right? You guys can imagine, even when we're near the support area, right, the bottom support down here, this is forming a semi-support at 263. Even when we're down that support, it moves rather slowly. Look how slowly it moves on a daily basis, right? It moves higher, then it goes lower. Now, if you're trading these upward candles, if you're like, okay, it went up around 2% on one day, I'm out. Then I could make a case that, okay, you might be, doing a short-term trade. That's fine. But right now, I want to show you guys the major chart, the 3-year chart. What is it doing right now? We've had a rather, once again, definitive up move. And here, we're consolidating, right? Consolidating. Does it have to stop at 263? No, right now you guys can see that it surely can break the 263, and there's multiple support levels, 256, the major ones 249, and possibly even more. There's more time for this one to play out. Is this the best time to get in? Well, right now you guys can see on the weekly chart that we had a rejection at the 20 period moving average. In my opinion, this one could continue on a little lower. Long-term trend is okay, it's intact, but short-term trend, I feel like it's just got to rest just a tad bit more. So, yep, that's my take on that, ANET. Thank you for your call out, Addy Boy. JA, natural gas. Thank you for your natural gas analysis, JA. I appreciate the insight. DJ Sin, thank you. Jeremy, K9, yeah, welcome. I see a lot of familiar faces here. So I want to talk about a couple of others that we weren't able to get to. First of all is BEN, GOOS. It has a wedge breakout. GOOS was one that I've been watching as well. Here was the, can you guys see the resistance? A bull flag pattern, right? This is a bull flag pattern that played out to the upside. Obviously, bull flags usually play out to the upside. Now, the thing is, you have to pay attention to this, right? We have resistance levels at 64.78 and 68.30. That's the first thing we want to keep note of. The second thing is, what do stocks like to do once it breaks out of something? Likely to come down and retest the trend. Now, does it have to come all the way down to $58? It doesn't have to, but it could. And that's why it's in my mind that it could do that and retest possible support areas, possibly 58.70. Okay, so right now I think yes, it has broken out, but if you weren't on this initial uprun, your potential for profit is lessened. Now, if it continues to move higher with definitive volume, right now you guys can see that the volume is kind of dying down in terms of the buyers. But if we have definitive volume pushing this higher, then I'm more inclined to say, okay, this is going to go higher. This is likely to break out of all-time highs. But right now, I think just give it a couple of days and see how this plays out before we move on any further. So good pattern, GOOS. Yeah, this is another example of a breakout pattern. Good identification. All right, what else we have? Razas. I took a look at IBM, I think, on the Thursday Stock Talk, so be sure to take a look at that one. And then the last one we'll talk about is EA by Ken. So welcome back, Ken. I think I've seen you in the channel before. I'm not too certain, but I think I've called this, talked about it. But very good pattern. EA Electronic Arts has seen a massive move to the downside. We're looking at the 3-year chart, but can you guys see this? What is this? 3 tail candles at a support area, right? Where was the support area? 112. Here's another support area. We didn't hit it, which was around 106, 105. We hold 3 tail candles on a weekly basis, and then we had an up move. Isn't that interesting? Well, yeah, that's the likely move to the upside, right? Now, here we go with this analysis. Is this moving higher? Yes. What has it done in the past? Can you guys see the rejections at the 20-period moving average? Where's the 20-period moving average? It's around 124, 125, right? That's around $4 to $5 away, and hence it's likely to gravitate towards that area and encounter some resistance. Now, here's the deal. Can you guys see that earnings is coming up in end of October, which is a month from now? Can you guys see this wonderful scenario? And this is just speculation, but the scenario in which we possibly hit even this resistance around 129 to 130 mark by the end of the month. And then on that day, the earnings day, is decision day. What do I mean by decision day? On that day is going to be the day in which the stock is going to make a major move higher or lower. That's what earnings day, that's where stocks love to go to, where on earnings days, because they love to go to a pivotal point in which gets you into that 50-50 notion of how earnings will go and how people will respond to it. Okay, that's one scenario. It doesn't have to do it, guys. Just pointing it to you guys. The second scenario is, what if at some point we get to the, get to the 125 mark, get rejected, and come back down to 113? Wouldn't that be a great scenario? Well, why would that be a great scenario? Well, because you can imagine if we end back at the support, which is the low of these three tail candles, once again, is decision day. Are we going to recover the gains that we've lost and potentially move back on the uptrend? Or is that going to be the catalyst for that next leg down? Right? What two great scenarios. That's what I would be looking for EA. But in the near term, there's still some more dollars to make up, in my opinion. Good one to take a look at. Hence, EA was put on my list. You guys can see my list on the left. EA is there. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. You're enjoying the weekend, possibly the fall weather, wherever you are, but I think it's a little cooler than usual for most places. Not sure, but thank you guys once again. In the weekday stock talks in the future, we might be doing those a little later than usual. So it might get posted an hour later than usual. So be on the lookout for those. In the meantime, hope you guys have a great trading day tomorrow, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy trading.